The next topic, quantum mechanical tunneling. We know that the matter has dual character, that is wave character and particle character. If matter has wave character, it behaves like a wave. That is, all waves can penetrate everywhere and their amplitude may approach zero at infinity, but will be everywhere else it has a finite value. So all waves can penetrate through this space. This barrier penetration of real waves and matter waves is one of the distinctive feature that separates wave phenomena from particle phenomena. As a result of this wave-like nature of matter, small particles can found in places where classical laws break down. That is, we can see small particles in classically forbidden region. This phenomenon of barrier penetration is called quantum mechanical tunneling. This quantum mechanical tunneling has a large number of applications. This quantum mechanical tunneling effect is employed in scanning tunneling microscope, tunneling diodes, tunneling field effect transistors, and in understanding radioactive decay and also studying chemical transformations. This quantum mechanical tunneling demonstrate the strangeness of quantum mechanics, but also not only this, but also it plays a fundamental role in society and is therefore an important subject in quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanical tunneling is a problem that involves energy barriers. More specifically, these barriers tells us about how a quantum particle, it may be an electron or a proton or a very small molecule, that spatially and temporally located within a region of space. Let us consider the tunneling process of a quantum particle through one potential barrier with a definite thickness. For example, if we take two metallic wires and the two metallic wires are separated by a distance, and this is an example of a quantum particle having one potential barrier. The schematic representation of a potential barrier with a finite thickness is shown in this figure. Here there are three regions in one-dimensional space, that is region 1, region 2 and region 3. For region 1 and region 2, region 1 and region 3, the potential energy Vx, that is equal to 0, whereas in the region 2 the potential energy Vx has a constant value. Mathematically, this can be written as Vx is equal to 0 as x is equal to less than or equal to 0. Vx is equal to V0 when x is in between 0 and L, and Vx is equal to 0 when x is equal to greater than or equal to L. The behavior of a particle near this barrier can be explained using the most fundamental equation in quantum mechanics, that is using the Schrödinger wave equation. The Schrödinger wave equation describes the quantum particle's wave function, which is analogous to Maxwell equations that describe the electronic and magnetic field. That is minus h cross square divided by 2m into dou square by dou x square into psi x plus vx into psi x, that is equal to E into psi x. In this Schrödinger equation here, the h cross is a constant and m is the mass of the particle under consideration, and vx is the energy barrier that the particle will see, and E is the energy of the particle, and psi x is the wave function of the particle. Solution of this wave function, that is psi x, gives everything about the system. So physically the wave function tells us something about the probability of finding the particle in different locations of the space. That is, the probability is calculated or can be determined by using the equation integral 0 minus infinity to plus infinity modulus of psi square dx, that is equal to 1. From using this equation we can find out the probability of finding the particle in space or within the region of space. This situation states that by taking the absolute value of the wave function, squaring it and summing that the quantity all over this space, we can find out the probability that is exactly equal to 1. That is, the square of the wave function tells us the probability of finding particle within a given region of space. This property is frequently exploited in quantum mechanics, since we can never know the position of the particle with 100% accuracy. Therefore, we are forced to use this relationship and say that the particle will certainly be located somewhere in a selected region of space. We know that the energy barrier through all space Vx, we can pick the energy E of a particle, and we can assume that the particle has some mass, that is m. With this we can solve the psi x in the three regions. That is, we can find out the value of psi x in the region 1, region 2 and region 3. At this point we need to know the energy of the electron. There are really three choices for the energy that we have to calculate. The classical physics predict that the total transmission when E is greater than V0 and a total reflection when E less than V0. And also we can see that the quantum mechanical principles predict almost total transmission when E is very very greater than V0 and almost total reflection when E is very very less than V0. That is, in this region E is approximately equal to V0. So we can expect unusual quantum phenomena in this region when energy is approximately equal to V0. Thus there are three choices for the energy that we are dealing about this system. That is, case 1 when energy is greater than 0, or case 2 when energy is approximately equal to V0, and the case 3 is the energy when E is less than V0. Let us discuss one by one. When the particle energy E, that is greater than V0, classically the particle crosses the barrier at every time when E is greater than V0. The velocity of the particle decreases when crossing the barrier. We know that the total energy of this system can be written as, that is kinetic energy, that is equal to half mv square, that is equal to E minus V0, where E is the total energy, E is the energy's potential. Quantum mechanically, a particle is considered as a wave function. We consider an analogy with the optics, that is, when light in the form of an electromagnetic wave travels from one medium to another, for example from air to gas, the wavelength changes because of changing the index of refraction. Some of the incident light is transmitted and some is reflected. We extend this analogy in quantum mechanics or in a quantum scale and describe the wave function in terms of an incident wave, reflected wave and a transmitted wave. And by using this analogy and solve the above Schrödinger equation for each wave function corresponding to each region, by using the appropriate wave boundary conditions, we can find out the wave functions in the region 1, in the region 2 and in the region 3 corresponding to E greater than V0, E approximately equal to V0 and E less than V0. Next we have to find out the values of momentum in the region 1, region 2 and region 3. That is, we can simply calculate the momentum in the region 1 P1, that is equal to root of 2me. From that, the value of K1 in the psi1 region, that is region 1, can be calculated as K1 is equal to root of 2me divided by h cross. Similarly, P2, that is equal to root of 2m into E minus V0. From that, K2 is equal to root of 2m into E minus V0 divided by h cross. And for region 3, P3, that is equal to root of 2me. Here also we know that for region 1 and region 3, K3 is equal to K1, that is equal to root of 2me divided by h cross. The barriers are stationary. Vx does not vary with the time. So we can perform the separation of variables and use the time independent Schrödinger equation to find out the wave function in each region. That is, first we have to write the time independent Schrödinger wave equations for each regions, region 1, region 2 and region 3. For region 1, it can be written as dou square psi1 by dou x square plus 2m by h cross square E into psi1. For region 2, dou square by psi2 divided by dou x square plus 2m by h cross square d minus v0 into psi2 is equal to 0. And for region 3, it is written as dou square by dou x square into psi3 plus 2m by h cross square into E into psi3, that is equal to 0. And the solutions of these three equations can be written as psi1, that is equal to a into e raised to I k1x plus b into e raised to minus I k1x for x less than 0. Psi2, that is equal to c into e raised to k2 into x plus d into e raised to minus k2x, and psi3, that is equal to f into e raised to I k1x plus g into e raised to minus I k1x. Each solution represents the time independent component of the traveling wave. Each term is referred to as amplitude. That is, each term in psi1, psi2 and psi3 represent its amplitude. The first amplitude, A, is the wave function traveling towards x greater than 0. That is towards right. We can summarize each of the amplitude in table 1. Note that we impose initial condition that the incident waves from the left moving in the positive x direction, that is from 0 to x direction. Here the amplitude, first amplitude a into e raised to I k1s, that represent, that amplitude value represent an incident wave moving right. B into e raised to minus I k1x, this amplitude represent the reflected wave moving left. And C, the term c into e raised to I k2x that represents the barrier wave moving right, and d into e raised to minus I k2x that represents the barrier wave moving left, and f into e raised to I k1x that represents the transmitted wave moving right, and also finally the g into e raised to minus I k1x that represents the incident wave moving left. The quantities a, f, b, g are the transmission and reflection amplitude, and the c and d are the coefficient of the evanescent and anti-evanescent waves inside the barrier, that is the which is transmitted through the barrier. These quantities can be obtained from the appropriate or matching boundary conditions. By applying the appropriate matching boundary conditions, we can find out the values of psi1 values, and then we can write the psi1 is equal to psi2 when x is equal to 0, dou psi1 by dou x plus dou psi2 by dou x, that is equal to dou psi equal when x is equal to 0, and also psi2 that is equal to psi3 when x is equal to L, dou psi2 by dou x that is equal to dou psi3 by dou x when x is equal to L. The boundary conditions are the x is equal to 0 and x is equal to L, and by applying these boundary conditions we can generate 4 equations. That is, we are applying the boundary conditions to find out the values of a, b, c, d, e and f. First we have to apply the boundary conditions, that is s equal to 0 and x equal to 0. We get general 4 equations: a plus b that is equal to c plus d, I k1 a minus I k2 b that is equal to I k2 c minus I k2 d. Next is c into e raised to I k2 L plus d into e raised to minus k2 L that is equal to f I k2 L, and the final one, that is the fourth one, is I k2 into c into e raised to I k2 L minus I k2 minus d into e raised to minus I k2 L that is equal to I k1 f e raised to minus I k2 L. That is, we get 4 equations. By solving these 4 equations, we can find out the values of a, b, c, d, e and f. Now we are in a position to define the transmission and reflection probabilities. If a and f are the coefficient of the wave function represent the continuous wave moving in the forward region, that is of 1 and 3, then the amplitude of modulus of f star f divided by a star a, that represent the relative probability of finding the particle in these two regions, that is regions 1 and regions 3, and this ratio is called the transmission probability or transmission coefficient. That is, transmission coefficient is approximately equal to integral of or modulus of psi trans divided into psi star trans divided by psi incident into psi star incident. And substituting these values, we can find out the value of transmission coefficient as 1 plus v0 square sin square k2 into L divided by 4 e into v0 minus e the whole raised to minus 1 when e greater than v0. That is, we get a definite value of t. This means that there is a definite probability of finding particles in the region 3, quite contrary to the classical predictions. That is, the particle tunnel through the barrier from the region 1 to region 3. Similarly, the reflection probability can be calculated using the equation R is equal to b star b divided by a star a. The next possibility, when the potential energy is less than v0 is less than E. Sorry, V0 is greater than E. Classically, a particle of energy E less than V0 is always reflected by the potential barrier. When we consider a particle described by a quantum wave function, we observe a small but definite possibility of finding the particle or tunnel the particle through the barrier and continue through the outside. The transmission of a quantum particle through the barrier is shown in the figure. That is, through the barrier, the particle is tunneled to the region 3 when energy is less than V0. The analysis of the situation, that is E less than V0, follows the previous analysis for E less than V0 with the exception that we must modify the wave function within the barrier. That is, by using that Schrödinger wave equation for the region psi 2, we can find out the wave function psi 2 by using the value of k2 as root of minus 2m into V0 minus E divided by h cross, which is now an imaginary quantity. We therefore define k2 is in terms of another terms, that is k2 is equal to minus ik, where k is equal to, if k2 is equal to minus ik, then k is equal to root of 2m into V0 minus E divided by h cross, and the wave function within the region 2 may be then rewritten as psi 2, that is equal to c into e raised to minus I k2x plus d into e raised to minus I plus I k2x, that is equal to c into e raised to kx plus d into e raised to minus kx. That is, in terms of k, we can write the Schrödinger wave equation. That is, the wave function within the barrier is now described by an exponential term rather than the oscillatory term. Here also we can find out the value of transition probability, and the value of transition probability, that is equal to t is equal to 1 plus V0 square into sine h square kl divided by 4 e into V0 minus e into whole raised to minus 1. The fact that the t can take a non-zero value, which indicate a definite probability that the particle tunnels through the barrier and continues to the other side. And assuming that if kl is very greater than none, we may write the above equation as t, that is equal to 16 into e by V0 into 1 minus e divided by V0 into e raised to minus 2 kl. That is, tunneling probability decays exponentially for a thicker potential barrier. As k is proportional to root of V0 minus e, we note that the tunneling probability is more sensitive to the thickness of the barrier L than its height. Let us now summarize this. For E greater than V0, we can assume that the wave is a traveling wave towards the which moving towards the right. In the region 1, we have sine wave that will be both reflected and transmitted. In region 2, we have another sine wave, and in this case the time with a larger wavelength. Here we can see a larger wavelength which will be both transmitted and reflected. In the region 3, we have another sine wave with the same wavelength as in the region 1. We can see this in this picture. That is, when E greater than V0, in the region 1 and in the region 2, the sine wave has the same amplitude, and in the region 2 it has a slightly greater amplitude. And when what will be the observation when E less than V0? Here also we assume that the wave travel towards right. Region 1 looks quantitatively same as that of in the case of E greater than 0. In region 2 the solution becomes some more real complicated, because in the region 2 this solution becomes a real exponential, which is demonstrated by the experimental decay time. Therefore the wave function is dying off in the region 2. That is, the wave nature of the wave is dying off, get destroyed in the region 2. This means that in the region 3 through the wave function again appears to be sinusoidal, and the amplitude is shown in this region is smaller than the region 1. That is, we can see this in the figure. The wave function, the nature of the wave function in the three regions when E less than V0. In the region 1 it has a definite amplitude, and in the region the wave function amplitude decays, and when it reaches in the region 3 again it has a sine wave function, but the amplitude is changes less than that of the region 1. Also we note that this situation to the wave function is not physically real, since it is not normalized. This is to say that we cannot integrate the probability density all over the space and come up with the value that is anything but infinite. To make this physically real, we would have to use different solutions to this problem, so that we could sum up those different solutions into a wave packet which can be normalized. The reason we use this physical situation is because it is simpler and still get a physical initiation into the nature of the tunneling. Let us discuss one or two applications of, or mention one or two application of quantum mechanical tunneling. First one is the scanning tunneling microscope. The scanning tunneling microscope uses the principle of quantum mechanical tunneling. Scanning tunneling microscope allows us to see object at the atomic level. A small gap between the probe and the sample acts as a potential barrier. Electrons can tunnel through the barrier to create a current in the probe. A small differences in the barrier width can even more strongly influence the tunneling coefficient. The STEM, scanning tunneling microscope, was invented in 1981 by Gerard Bending and Heinrich Rohr, and they got Nobel Prize in 1986 together with the Ernst Röska, who is the inventor of transmission electron microscope. It was invented in 1932. This figure shows the basic nature of the wave in scanning electron microscope. In figure A, we can see that the wave function of the electron in the surface of the material to be studied. The wave function extends beyond the surface into the empty region. If we place a probe near to the material to be studied, that is indicated in the region in the figure B. Here the sharp tip of the conducting probe is brought close to the surface of the material to be studied. The wave function of the surface electron penetrate into the tip so that the electron can tunnel from the surface to the tip. Another application of quantum mechanical tunneling that is used in chemistry. The course of the chemical reaction can be explained by using the application of quantum mechanical tunneling, and the course of any chemical reaction can be explained by using its potential energy surface. This potential energy surface gives the complete description of a chemical reaction or a molecular structures of stable molecules. The minima on the potential energy surface correspond to the optimized geometries. The transition structure between the reactant and product of a reaction is called the saddle point in the potential energy surface or transition state. The lowest energy pathway linking the two minima is called the reaction coordinate or intrinsic reaction coordinate. The reaction coordinate is the path traveled by the molecule in going from one minimum to the another minimum through the transition state in the potential energy surface with sufficient activation energy to overcome the activation energy barrier. Only molecule with a sufficient amount of energy to cross over the activation barrier will follow the intrinsic reaction coordinate. However, in some reactions, the reactants transform to the product by directly tunneling across the activation barrier instead of climbing over the saddle point or transition state. This type of purely quantum mechanical tunneling effect will become more prominent for reactions at low temperatures and can lead to interesting and even completely unexpected product in some chemical transformations. References: Quantum Chemistry, P.K. Prasad, and next one is Quantum Tunneling Through Two Sequential Barriers, a simple derivation by